He's the president of the Greater Syracuse Convention and Visitors Bureau. Now officially can be called a Syracusean because you have 3 years in. You're here now, right?
I'm committed.
It's official. It's official. So let's talk about that. You just released your mid-year report on tourism and the economic impact. People would be surprised that there is even a tourism industry in Syracuse.
Unfortunately, yeah, that is the case. But it's a big industry. It employs over 12,000 individuals directly, direct employment. It's worth to our local economy over $470 million a year. That's big for our area. And as you mentioned, it saves each household tax dollars. And the reason that takes place is these are visitors that come to our area from other places. They buy things, they stay in our hotels, they're eating our restaurants. That impact that they have stays behind once they go home. They're not having to use our schools, they're not having, for the most part, use our municipal services. That's the value of tourism for all of us.
12,000 people directly employed in tourism. Is it because we don't think of tourism in the way we think of going to Disney World, for example, or going to New York to see a show? Is it because we have a different way to think about tourism here?
Unfortunately, we have so many of those things that we seek in other communities here in Syracuse. For whatever reasons, like many communities that are of our size, this mid-size type community, there's an undervalue to all of those different dimensions of our community, whether it's our museums, whether it's the wide breadth of restaurants that we have in the area. It's a very silent industry. The great thing about it is it's an industry that pays off over and over again. You know, someone who, a business a hotel, for instance, that receives direct impact from tourism, all of a sudden takes the money that comes into that hotel and redistributes it through local dry cleaners, florists, other businesses like that depend on the business they get from that hotel or restaurant or whatever it might be. So that's what, if people start talking about a multiplier effect, that's the multiplier effect.
Are you hurt, though, by the fact that we're sort of underdeveloped as it relates to convention facilities like a hotel? And I know that you must be pulling your hair out every day over the frustration over the fact that that just hasn't gotten done.
That's a very frustrating piece of, and we've had so many different conversations with local officials and local economic development organizations because it is such a critical need for the future. But in looking forward to that, hopefully one day that goes into place. For the time being, we've got to market what we have. Mm-hmm. And that's been all the discussion over what we don't have has caused many distractions along the way. The commitment
too much of that discussion, you might say.
Absolutely.
As to
absolutely.
Deficits as opposed to assets.
Actually, absolutely. The piece that makes a difference, and when we start concentrating on marketing and selling what we have, it makes a difference because people are interested in that. When our convention sales staff and our sports sales staff goes out and starts promoting Syracuse to places like Albany and meeting planners and sporting event planners, they're interested not in what we're going to have, but what we have right now. We start talking about the great assets that we have. We use 5. We have incredible shopping assets. We have incredible cultural assets. We have great sports assets. We have a fabulous dining scene and culinary scene. And we have the ability to pamper people, to make people feel comfortable, that great idea of hospitality. You put all that together, it's a very, very strong product. We combine that with our facilities, whether they're hotels or meeting facilities, sports facilities. We have a very, very defined product that people are interested in. But we sometimes have to overcome our own internal barriers that sometimes prevent us from thinking, wow, people are going to be interested in what we have.
So does winter offer a unique challenge or a great opportunity?
Winter offers a great opportunity. One of my favorite things to say is it's our biggest celebrity. And no offense to Syracuse University and all the exposure that the university brings to our community. We get featured on the Weather Channel so many different times during the year, this part of the year.
Like recently, right?
That's right.
Well, now, is Fulton considered part of our market area? Because Fulton was on national ABC News not too long ago.
The way I look at it, George,
Everybody's in the game.
If someone is talking about Syracuse and they're pointing to Fulton, they're talking about our area.
Okay.
And the great exposure that brings is as long as we've got people talking, even if they're talking about we're getting 100 inches of snow, we've got people talking.
We're so blasé about that because we're equipped to move with, we're equipped to deal with it, and for the most part, we're equipped to drive in it. You know, it snows every day. We get up, we go to work, and that's it. You know, where you're from, that would not be the case.
Yeah, I grew up in North Carolina, and actually one of the things that I had an interesting opportunity to do back in December, a writer called up. She was working on an online article. What's it like to live in blank, blank, blank? You know, different places around the country with different assets. Mm-hmm. Her previous article was what it's like to live in a place that rarely gets snow, followed by what's it like to live in a place that gets lots of snow.
Right.
And so it was a different perspective. I grew up in North Carolina. I had never held a snow shovel until I moved to upstate New York. I didn't know they had such things as snow plows until I moved to upstate New York. But our area does such a great job of dealing with that. Life goes on, and I think that's an incredible story in and of itself.
So that's our biggest celebrity.
Winter's our biggest celebrity. We need to be proud of it. We need to embrace things like we've been able to go out this year and bring in the Special Olympic Winter Games because we love winter here.
And of course, skiing is a big deal here.
It's a big industry for our area. Absolutely.
Tell me, you said that the Special Olympics Winter Games are coming. When are they coming, and where will we see those athletes?
That's the first weekend of February. They're going to be all over the community, a lot of different events from the On Center to some of our different ski resorts. They're everywhere, and we're really looking forward to welcoming them to town. We're going to follow that up in a few weeks later with the outdoor hockey game, February 20th. Certainly a great event for our area. It's going to get great publicity. People talking about what's going on in Syracuse.
Now, the big outdoor hockey game, this is the Syracuse Crunch versus the Binghamton Senators.
Yes.
And the Syracuse Crunch and Senators, you've got a deal going with Ottawa, right? Because the Binghamton Senators are the farm team of the Ottawa Senators, and so therefore a lot of push and pull between Syracuse and Ottawa, one of your target cities.
Absolutely. Ottawa's a great market for us. They really, really appreciate the assets that this area has to offer. They love our shopping. They're finding out all of these other dimensions of our community, and they fall in love with it. The fact that Binghamton's coming in and they have such a strong affiliation with their being the farm team for the Ottawa Senators, we know we can draw in this Canadian following. Canadians love hockey, fortunately. They'll come in, they'll really generate the type of impact that we're hoping this event's going to have.
Well, we've seen the impact that the NHL Outdoor Classic has had. You know, Rich Stadium, 80,000 people this year. The game was at Fenway Park between, I believe it was the Bruins and the Flyers. And this is what the first outdoor game in the AHL history, which could be a test for other franchises that may want to do it.
Absolutely. And if anything, just the idea of people talking about what's going on in Syracuse and the Syracuse area is a strength for our area. People love to hear about what's going on here. It's a phenomena that is certainly not, we don't own so specifically, but it's one that as more people talk about the great things that are happening in our area, the more they're going to be interested, the more they're going to come here.
But of course, the last year with the recession and all of that, again, across the board, everybody saw the numbers go down.
Yeah. The economy hit everyone, and in the tourism industry, it cut back substantially on business travel. That was a big harmful piece of the whole economic picture. It cut back on the concern over consumer confidence, cut back on the number of leisure trips that our area and many other areas were experiencing.